As Aaron said, you are the youngest, and I wanted to ask you about the oldest, Carly. What have you been your observations of Carly since the World Cup and her drive and fire to remain not only in the program but an important part of this group?
Yeah, I mean, I think Carly's absolutely one of the players that you never see her tank getting empty. You never even see it getting near empty. I think that 2020 was especially great for her to be able to take some time for her body and get everything as right and as perfect as possible. And it seems to have added more years to her career. So some people might be like, oh, well, waiting an extra year might be harder on the older veterans, but it seems like it's prolonged her career even more. So she seems to be firing on all cylinders at this point, ready to go. And it's honestly a pleasure to watch her play, to continue to have so much passion about the game so long for her career.
Great. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Steve. I'm going to ask the question for Juan Carlos because his audio is not working. So, T, that question is, once the Olympic team has been selected, or when it was, has the atmosphere changed at all? Has the focus changed now that the 18 plus 4 is together, or will be together once the alternates arrive?
Yeah, I mean, I think now the focus is fixing the small details and honing in on the small details. I think, as a group, we've largely been together, but now knowing the 18 plus the 4, we can focus on the little tiny minute details that are going to win us games in very tight situations, and that's what this team is all about, is just perfecting every single thing that we can. And so that's going to be kind of the focus for the next couple of weeks leading up to the games.
Thanks, Steve. Sandra Herrera, did you re-raise your hand, or was this left over?
No, I sure did re-raise it.
You sure did or did not?
I got a question.
Shoot.
All right, thanks. I asked a similar question to Alyssa Tierna, but I was just curious what you're going to be looking at going up against Mexico, potentially playing across the back line as you guys prepare for the Olympics. They've got some interesting and dynamic players in terms of their attacking core. Potentially could see some time against a former teammate in Maria Sanchez. What type of challenge are you looking for ahead of this match?
Yeah, I mean, whenever we play Mexico, they always have very technical players. And having played with Maria Sanchez, I know that she's a very technical player, loves to be on the ball, loves to create. And so that's always a good challenge for us as defenders, to really test our skills as individuals and as a back line to make sure that we stay organized and cover each other. So I think that with Mexico, we're looking at a good challenge from a team that is organized defensively and has some threats to pose to us in transition. And so I think, with the skills that they have, we're looking to keep a clean sheet and to get some good goals in on them. So hopefully that's what we see over these next 2 games. But I'm excited to also see Maria in person again.
Good luck tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sandra. Ann Costabile, go ahead.
Hi, Tierna. Casey has often spoke about your guys' connection on the field, and obviously playing together in Chicago and on the national team, I'm sure that connection is strong. But I wonder if you could speak to how you saw her handle not being named to the World Cup roster and turning that into now an opportunity on this Olympic roster, and what, if any, inspiration you've pulled from her and the way she plays this game.
Yeah. Casey's one of my closest friends in Chicago, and so it was definitely a very difficult time for her when she didn't get named to the World Cup roster. It was a hard hit to take, but she turned it around and I think ended up making every single NWSL Best 11 in the 2019 season. She is a fantastic player and probably one of the most consistent outside backs that I've seen. It's rare to find an outside back that is so solid on defense and offense and can just, get up and down for 90 minutes. It's always amazing to watch her play. So to see that she gets this opportunity after some of the adversity that she's faced over the past couple of years is very special. She definitely was surprised and excited to get it. And I remember when she told me about it, my jaw was on the floor. But I'm very excited to have her here, both as a friend and as a teammate.
Awesome, thank you.
Well said, T. Let's go to Alex Campbell. Go ahead, Alex.
Hi, Tierna. Thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate it. Ask the same thing to Alyssa. For you, do you get a boost coming into national team camp, especially, things haven't gone as you guys probably would have liked for the Red Stars this season. So making that transition from the Red Stars and now coming into camp, what's that transition like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely taking the experience that we're having at the Red Stars and, appreciating what I'm learning from it, and then also kind of putting it aside a little bit and resetting and coming into this environment. Obviously, with different coaches, there are different asks of us as players, and, we don't play the exact same way, so there's always a bit of transition that you have to do when you come from club into this environment, and Vlatko does ask us to do that, to compartmentalize and put away whatever has happened at club, good or bad, and just focus on the goals for this team and how we want to play. So I think it's definitely taking a little bit of both, having the experience and the adversity that we've gone through, but then also kind of leaving it behind and returning to it in a couple weeks.
Thanks, sir. Let's go to Jonathan Tannenwald.
Baron, and thank you, Tierna, for the time. You mentioned going. Casey was one of your best friends on the Red Stars. I was wondering if you could reflect some on what it means to be going to Tokyo with Katerina Macario, and what you think it means for her to be part of this group and have the experience of being over there in, now as we've heard, whatever form it ends up taking.
Yeah, I am so happy for her that she gets this opportunity. I mean, I have been playing against her since I was 12 or 13. And so I've been able to watch her grow as a player and been able to have to deal with her on the field as a player for a while. And I've known that she's a special player ever since she came on to San Diego Surf. And just to know that her goal has been to play for this team, has been to represent the U.S. for so long, and to finally get that opportunity at the Olympic level is so special for her. So I'm excited to have her here, and I hope that she kind of gets everything that she has ever wished for from this tournament, and I hope it's the first of many for her.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. T's inspiring me today. Nancy Armour, go ahead.
Hey, Tierna, thanks for doing this. Just wondering what you've taken away or what you've learned from Crystal Dunn, and can you put into just like normal people language, describe how difficult it is to do what she does. I mean, she can basically play anywhere on the field that you put her, and like I was saying about how her personality can shift just in one attack.
Yeah, I mean, Crystal, it's no secret, she is absolutely one of the most versatile players I've ever seen, and her technical and tactical ability is beyond me. Like, it is so difficult to play one position as a professional, let alone at this level, but to be good enough to play in any position nearly at this level is absolutely unheard of. And, it's one thing to know how to play the position, it's one thing to actually, and it's another thing to actually be able to play the position. And her understanding of the game, her ability to read the game and kind of go with the flow of the game is amazing. And beyond that, as you said, her personality is something incredibly unique and such a big part of this team. She has the ability to lift people up, to encourage people, and support people in a way that I've seen rarely from other players. So she is a very, very special player and a very important cog in this machine that we have here.
Awesome, T. Thanks. Last couple for Tierna. We'll go to Mike DeCourcy. Go ahead, Mike.
Tierna, I wondered if you could, as you're looking forward, you can maybe assess how it's different preparing for the Olympics versus the World Cup, both from a standpoint of the soccer itself, but also the experience you expect to have.
Well, so this is my first Olympics that I've prepared for, and I think that it has been a very, very unique and different experience than any other preparation for any other Olympics, just by nature of having a pandemic in front of us. So I think that my two experiences of preparing for international tournaments have been very different in that sense. I would have to say that preparing for this tournament had to be a lot more individual for us, just because we were a lot more spread out and isolated than I think we wish we were. But I think that it actually gave players an opportunity to grow and to do what they needed to do individually, whether it was take time off, to rehab an injury, to play in a different country, to play in the NWSL. I think people really had the opportunity to kind of grow their game and grow themselves as a person individually a lot more than I think any other time before. And I think that's actually helped a lot of people really hit their prime stride of their game going into this tournament.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Tierna. Last one for Tierna goes to Ja'Cory Moon, I think People Magazine, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Ja'Cory.
Thank you for your time, Tierna. Kind of a fun question. As you're looking forward to the Olympics, what are some of the things about the Olympics that you're most hyped to experience?
Honestly, I am just really excited to watch track and field. I think that's one of my favorite things to watch, and has always been one of my favorite things to watch whenever the Olympics come around, just because it is such an intense sport, and it's so different than ours in the sense that it lasts, sometimes 4 seconds, sometimes, a couple minutes, but it is so interesting and so fun to watch all of those fantastic athletes out there. And I think even more so than before, there's a ton of coverage happening with the women's track and field athletes, and so I'm very excited to watch them perform there.